Austin Stevens is a trained animal expert. He's worked with dangerous animals all his life and knows how to ensure the animal's safety and his own. Please never attempt to get too close to a wild animal yourself.
During the Vietnam War, the Viet Cong built a massive network of tunnels from where they attacked their enemy. Hot, dark passageways said to be infested with snakes and spiders.
Holy mackerel. I tell you, this is like living my worst nightmare. I am really claustrophobic. And the more I move down these tunnels, the tighter they seem to get. And they're spiraling down and down. I think I've gone down about 3 floors already. Can you believe that people lived down here? They lived and fought a war down here. It's a nightmare just to think of it.
150 miles of tunnels riddled with booby traps.
You know, some stories told that there were so many spiders down here that sometimes it actually looked like the walls were moving as if they were alive with spiders. Just look at this. This is one of the old wells they dug. They actually had their own water supply right here inside the tunnels. But what's got my attention over here is look what they had to live with. And look at the size of this guy. Put my hand next to him. Look at that. I don't know what they are. And they scare the heck out of me.
I can relate to the people who live down here, as I endured a similar nightmare during the 1970s when I was a soldier, 6,000 miles away in Africa.
In the Angolan War, I was sometimes sent down some of those tunnels to actually check for venomous snakes beforehand. In the case of the Vietnam War, they actually placed snakes in the tunnels in little hidden compartments ready to be tripped open to scare away the GIs. And the propaganda led them to believe that some of these snakes were so venomous they could kill them within 1 or 2 steps of being bitten. The interesting thing is that through the war, so many people have avoided these areas that there's an amazing amount of herpetofauna here now. Snakes that have been undiscovered, unidentified yet. And that's what I'm really interested in. I'd like to have a look around the jungles outside here. Let's see if I can find my way out of here.
Ever since I can remember, I've been interested in dangerous and exotic wildlife. But for the past 10 years or so, I've earned my living from photography. Traveling from my home in southern Africa to the ends of the earth to photograph some of the rarest and deadliest creatures in the world. This film is a diary of my trip from Vietnam to Cambodia, through one of the most fascinating regions in the world. Once the seat of the legendary Khmer Empire, it became the land that time forgot. Internal conflict during the latter part of the 20th century created a time capsule for animal species that once prevailed across much of Southeast Asia. Huge tracts of its forests still remain undiscovered, and that is why I'm traveling back to what once was the ancient land of the Khmer. I'm on a personal journey that I've always wanted to make. It is the first opportunity I've had to visit this land and explore its ancient forests, home of some of the most secretive and bizarre snakes anywhere in the world. Reminders of the region's glorious past are everywhere. It's a diverse and plentiful land, home to an extraordinarily resilient people, mysterious hidden temples, and some of the most fascinating reptiles on the planet, all just waiting to be discovered.
The weather's been playing havoc with my camp. It's been been a lot of rain. The humidity is terrific. And the reason I've come here is because I'm looking for some of the most exotic animals on the planet. Not the biggest, not the most venomous, not the strongest animal, but the most exotic, the most unusual animal that is seldom seen, that you never see in parks. Most of them I've only read about. I haven't even seen living specimens, and I know they're found in this area. And this is an ideal place to come, and I've got a really good chance of finding something interesting. One of the snakes I'm actually hoping to encounter in this forest is the golden tree snake. This is also known as a flying snake. Now that's incredible because snakes can't fly, but there are some snakes that can glide, and this is one of them. The geckos in this forest and some of the lizards have flaps under their arms which they can spread and float from tree to tree. The golden tree snake does the same thing. It moves from one branch, a higher branch, to a lower branch, spreads out, glides its way down. People have seen this happening. I've never seen it on photograph, and I'm going to try and get that.
This snake, the flying snake, is the snake I'll focus most of my efforts upon. On my journey, I will travel from the darkest tunnels to the deepest forest, crossing massive rivers and vast lakes. There is so much here to explore and so much to discover. I've set up camp amongst the ruins of an ancient temple. Temples like this are strewn across the Cambodian countryside, carved to their immortal gods. But the Khmer civilization has long perished, and its monuments left to crumble back into the forest. This is perfect snake territory, ideal for my main quarry, the flying snake, but also home to many other snake species that I've always wanted to discover.
I've got him, but he's trying to pull away, and he's hooking onto a dead branch. I've got him. He's brought the stick out with him. After all that chasing, I actually got him. Isn't he gorgeous as well? This is one of the most beautiful snakes in Asia as far as I'm concerned. This is a crate, and there are about a dozen species of kraits found in Asia, okay? It's a pretty venomous snake too. You can compare these snakes to cobras. The venom is very similar. It's a neurotoxic venom, a very powerful neurotoxic venom. Probably one drop or a couple of drops is all you need to certainly kill an adult human being. Watch that. See the movement? He's very alert. But being a powerful neurotoxic venom like this, you can expect death to occur within just a couple of hours of being bitten. Very similar to a cobra, as I say. The fangs are very tiny, right in the front of the mouth. Not something you could easily see. But to make up for those small fangs, what they do is they actually hold on to what they've bitten on. They would hold on to their prey, inject venom continuously while they're chewing and swallow down. So that makes it very dangerous if it's bitten a human being, because the snake hangs on, and the longer that snake is hanging on, the longer he will inject venom. So the first thing you do, bitten by a snake like this, is pull it off immediately. Get those fangs out of there so there's not too much venom injected. And they have this technique by which they hide their head all the time to keep their head safely tucked under the body, which I'll try and demonstrate just now. But I'd like to show you that head, and I don't know how I'm going to get hold of him over here. Let's just have a look. No, just get hold of that. Opposite. Look at that. Can't get near him. I'd love to take hold of his head. So that, there we go. Got it. Okay. Just take him down and see what happens. So we'll just see what his reaction is. I'll just let him go very quickly. First thing he does is tuck his head under his body. Just fool with him a little bit. See how he covers his head. It's actually incredible. He doesn't want to see what's going on. If I can't see, maybe they'll just go away.
And once the head is hidden under the body, the tail begins to move, mimicking and drawing the attention away from its head.
See that? His little head there. Look, he says, there's a head, bite that. Isn't that incredible? Look at that, I've got his head tucked under. He's trying to get a radar. Okay. Okay, so let me just tell you. You've been a good boy, thank you. I appreciate that. Look at him, isn't he gorgeous? Look at that. And remember, he's still a baby. I'm telling you, these guys get twice the size. They get long like this and they get thick like that. Beautiful snake. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm going to go let him go just over here. Beautiful snake. What an experience.
Wasn't that incredible? I mean, he gave me a run for my money. I couldn't believe it. He kept disappearing through places, and I had to run right around and get to him, and I finally got the photographs I wanted. But the snake that I'm really after, this flying tree snake, now that's a snake that's going to be a challenge. I mean, that guy's way up in the trees. You don't see them. They like greased lightning, and I still want to get a shot of him actually flattening his body and moving from tree to tree. That's going to be something that's really going to take some of my time.
This is a diary of my expedition, which takes me through the region that once made up the ancient kingdom of Khmer. I've set up camp in the ruins of an ancient temple, hidden deep in unexplored and long-forgotten forests, the perfect environment to track down the elusive golden flying snake. But getting here was just as exciting as being here. This region has a huge variety of habitats, and that's why it's so species-rich. On the way, I traveled through 2 spectacularly diverse environments. Not a moment of my trip was without surprise and excitement. I began my journey at the mouth of the legendary and enigmatic Mekong River. It's the longest river in Southeast Asia and one of the wildest in the world, dominating this part of Asia. Until 10 years ago, there was not a single bridge, as the Mekong flowed its 2,500 miles from its source way up in the Himalayas. For centuries, millions have relied upon these waters. Empires were forged, battles fought, and great explorers perished. Even today, this river retains the reputation as a heart of darkness. This was a chance for me to find a very secretive snake that's right at home here amongst the mangroves. But this is also home to a wealth of unique and bizarre species.
Look what I've got here. Right here in front of me, almost perfectly camouflaged, a real live horseshoe crab. This is one of the most primitive creatures found on our planet.
These guys are so perfectly formed, so perfectly designed for living in the sea, that they basically haven't changed their shape for 240 million years.
Incredible. These swamps here are just absolutely filled with stuff. This mangrove swamps is the place to find all the most unusual things. Okay, all his legs are tucked in under there, all fitted perfectly together.
So he's a lucky guy. I found him and I'm going to release him. Then I caught a glimpse of a shadow moving through the water.
Did you see that? I got him. Oh man. And he was right under the water. I just saw a black flash. I just grabbed quick, pulled him out. Look at that little monitor. I mean, there's lots of these guys now, but you don't often see them. They eat on everything. They eat little crabs, they'll eat frogs, they'll eat everything. Look at his nails he's got hooked under my thing. Look at those nails. See how he's clawing onto me? Holding on. They're sharp, razor sharp little nails. These guys can run like mad, they can swim like mad. They can swim on the surface and underwater. I've got to get him off my arm. He's got such powerful claws. He's so small. They don't get very big, these guys. They stay about this size, sometimes a little bit bigger. And they're excellent swimmers. Look at him. Oh, come on, let go. I can't get him off. Look at that. He's holding on to me. I'm going to be badly scratched. There we go. How's that? Is that all right? Yes. Just look how he's blowing his tummy up. Self-defense. They're puffing himself up, making himself as big, as powerful as possible, hoping that he'll have a chance to get away. If I tickle him a bit, you ticklish, look at those feet. He says, I'm ticklish, let go. I don't like that. Look at that. Isn't that incredible, hanging on to me like that? He's ready to go. He stands and pretends all the time, but he's ready to go. But this guy, I'm just going to let go in the water, and you'll see he'll duck under straight away. And he'll disappear. Get my tongs over here. You ready to swim?
This place may look idyllic, but it is actually one of the harshest environments on Earth to live. It's constantly in a state of flux as the tide ebbs and flows, exposing vast areas of mudflats that bake under the intense heat of the midday sun.
This is an incredibly vast area and a difficult area for animals to survive. Mangrove swamps are always difficult. You don't get a lot of stuff floating around here in the day. Sometimes crabs, some birds and a few things like that. But at night time these swamps actually come alive. These mangroves come alive, and that's what I'm interested in. And then look at the nightlife coming out of the swamps here. To the best of my knowledge, this particular area that I've chosen here might just be the ideal spot for the little snake I'm looking for. This is a very unusual snake. It's something that lives in mangrove swamps and only comes out at night. So you can imagine nobody ever encounters this snake. water over here. There's also plenty of mud. There's mangrove roots. See over here, there's a couple of holes here, and over here as well. But a lot of different swamp animals make holes. The animal I'm looking for may be in one of these. What I'm going to do is just go back to the boat and get everything I need, get my camera and a few other bits and pieces, use this as a marker and come and wait this out.
Earlier, I picked up some bait from fishermen with which to lure out my quarry.
Okay, so the snake that I'm looking for here is actually called a pipe snake. And I don't actually know why they give it that name. Nobody seems to know for sure. But one thing's for certain, it makes tunnels, and it may be that these tunnels are considered pipes. With a little bit of luck, I might just get one of these snakes coming out. Very few people ever encounter these pipe snakes, but as far as I can make out, your best bet in the wild is to lure them with food. So what I'm going to do is just sit here with my camera ready and hope for the best.
But this is a long shot. These tunnels could belong to anything.
I've got something. I've got a pipe snake. He's right there. I think he smelled the fish. His tongue is flickering. There he comes. He's coming out. He's coming out in full body. I've got to give him at least half his body length, otherwise he's going to pull back and I won't get him. Maybe I can just creep forward slowly. He's looking around. He's smelling for the fish, but he's gone past it. He's out. I've got him. I've got him. Look at this guy. That's fantastic. I've never seen one of these alive before.
This is a primitive snake that loves hot and humid conditions, preferring to live in swampy areas. It's predominantly nocturnal, moving around underground in daylight hours, only coming to the surface under the cover of darkness. Both ends look alike. The head is short and blunt, and the body cylindrical, making it ideally suited for burrowing. They are not particularly good swimmers and don't move around much, preferring to hunt in the mud and shallows. Eels are their favorite quarry, which they hunt down using both tongue flicking and through the detection of surface vibrations. Once they have latched on, they will constrict as they bite, finally devouring them with vigor, tail first. My journey was to take me further north along the Mekong and into the Tonle Sap. No visit to Cambodia would be complete without a trip to this great lake, a vast body of fresh water that's home to a unique and mysterious snake, the only one of its kind anywhere in the world. This is to be my next stop.
Just look at this place. It's wall-to-wall mud. And this is the dry season, would you believe it? When they get rain over here, this whole expanse is 5 times bigger. And the water would normally be right above these trees. And even now in the dry season, it takes a 6-wheel drive monster like this to just get me through this mud to get to the village.
The Tonle Sap is the largest freshwater lake in Southeast Asia and home to an astonishing array of snake species. For over 1,000 years, this lake has been at the heart of Cambodian civilization. It's an incredible natural phenomenon that provides fish proteins and irrigation waters for almost half the population of Cambodia. It's the close season for fishing, when water levels and general lake activity are at their lowest. It's a time for maintenance, repairs and gearing up for the fishing season ahead. Huge thunderstorms remind the fishermen that the monsoon season will soon be here, and with it a time of plenty. With the rains and the resulting floods come millions of fish that have swam in from the Mekong River, itself now in full flood. The fish swim into the nutrient-rich waters of the forest where they breed. This creates one of the most productive freshwater fisheries anywhere in the world, and their harvest is one of the most prolific. Unlike elsewhere in the world, these torrential rains and severe floods bring productivity, joy and happiness. 500,000 tons of fish are harvested from the lake every year. But the fish traps inadvertently drown hundreds of thousands of water snakes. My plan is to search these traps to track down a snake that is unique to this part of the world and quite unlike any snake I've ever seen before, then release them back into the wild.
Difficult to work on. I got them. Got all the spikes out. That's what's holding everything in. I cannot believe this. Look at this. You won't believe what's going on in here. I've got to be very careful because I don't know what all these species are. There's a lot of different water snakes in this. I know some of them are venomous as well. They seem to be mostly water snakes. I just got to be careful. Sometimes cobras and stuff get caught in here as well. Look at all these snakes.
But the snake that I am after was still nowhere to be seen.
I'm going to save them. They're not going to drown.
I was rescuing more and more snakes to be released later. We went through dozens of traps and hundreds of snakes. We came across species that I'd never seen before.
I think I see what I'm looking for in here. This is it. I think this is the guy I've been looking for. Wow. Another snake I've never seen in live before. Not even in captivity. I've only seen them in pictures. And that is a tentacle snake. And you can see why it's called a tentacle snake. All you have to do is look at that head. Look at that. Isn't that incredible? That is the only snake in the world that has twin tentacles right on its nose like that.
Nobody knows what the tentacles are for, but one theory is that it helps them when hunting. Tentacle snakes are wholly aquatic, only coming to the surface to breathe. They spend their entire lives in water, but in spite of this, they are surprisingly weak swimmers and are confined to slow-moving streams, rivers, and lakes. They anchor themselves by their tails to vegetation, from where they wait to ambush their prey. They go rigid and completely motionless, mimicking twigs or vegetation. They adopt a bizarre hunting pose, forming a distinctive J shape with their bodies. Once set, they simply wait for a browsing fish to stray too close, before striking with amazing ferocity.
With all these people here and right on this lake, you'd probably think this is the last place in the world to actually come looking for specific snakes. And yet, as it turns out, because of the traps going on here, because of the fishing, it's been the actual perfect place for me to find exactly what I was looking for.
But now it's time to push on with the job in hand, tracking down and photographing the flying snakes amongst the ruined temples of the Khmer Empire. Will I complete my mission and get photographs of the elusive flying snake? I'm on a mission to photograph the amazing golden flying snakes. I want to get a shot of the snake in mid-flight, flying from one tree to another. This may be an impossible task, but I've chosen the perfect location, open canopy and heaps of flying snakes. They move secretively amongst the branches, but every now and then you get a glimpse as they sail from one tree to the next. That's what I'm waiting for. It's then that I have to be quick.
I've got one shot. They move like greased lightning and I'm after them all the time. I've even had birds calling, some birds calling, which was like alarm call, brought me right to a snake. I can barely see them. They're so fast and so well camouflaged. This is going to be a much tougher job than I ever expected.
No luck with the flying snake, so I've decided to travel to the nearby rice paddies, where I hope to find a much more aggressive animal. "85% of Cambodians live off the land, and it is amongst the rubber plantations and rice paddies that they come across the region's most abundant venomous snake. It's a fast-striking ambush predator with huge fangs, deadly venom, and the most cryptic camouflage. The snake lies in wait along the same tracks that people work and children play. It strikes with tremendous ferocity at anything or anyone that comes too close. Far too often, that is bare feet. Thousands of bites are recorded every year, but many more go unreported.
The snake that I'm actually hoping to find in this area is the Malayan pit viper. This is a prolific snake that's found all over Southeast Asia, and they cause the most snake bite casualties of any snake in this area. Now normally I'd look for the snake in the forest, but they're so well camouflaged. I could spend weeks in a forest, but what happens here is that the water floods in the paddy fields and the snakes get forced to the edges and they sit themselves here on the pathways where the people work. Now this is very dangerous because of course people could approach, step on them, put their hands on them, picking up grass and get bitten by these snakes.
It's the beginning of the monsoon and potentially the most dangerous time for farmers.
Just look at this. Just look at this. Can you see that? Look at that. Just the nose. Remember what I said? Perfectly camouflaged. Incredibly camouflaged. Hang on. Just dump this down here. Look at this guy here. It's exactly what I'm looking for. Have a look. Tell me if you can see that. He's flashing the tongue at me. He can smell. He doesn't know what's going on. He's just checking out. Is he in danger or isn't he? And I'm going to just pull him out and see if you can have a good look at his body and see what his sort of reaction would be. There we go. At the moment, he's not sure what's going on. Oh, he doesn't like that at all. Slightest movement. He's watching me. Okay, and he's got quite a long lunge, as you can see. Oh, look at that. He can stretch out quite far. And the little heat receptors are in between the nose and the eye. So if a mouse came past, he picks up the heat of that mouse. And even if it was in the dark, he'll still strike accurately at that mouse. Hey, you cross with me? Yeah. Oh, he says, I'm furious. I'm going to bite you if I get near. Don't touch me. I'm going to bite. Look at that. Oh, bit me right in the foot. Right in the foot. The venom is like a terrible blood and tissue destroying poison. It's not something you want to get bitten by because it causes terrible damage to the limb. Especially if it's in the foot, you'd cause a lot of necrosis. In some cases, you even have a limb amputated from a bite of a snake like this. All over Southeast Asia, they cause more bites than any other snake in there. Look at that strike. Look at that strike, okay? It's just lunging. He says, I'm furious. I'm going to kill something. They are terrified of the snake here. They call it, what they call the landmine snake, because it explodes out of the grass like this. And these guys know about landmines and exploding fuel. So I'm going to catch the snake behind the head, expose those fangs, just give you a look at what I'm talking about. And this is the most dangerous thing. So I've got to be very careful, and I have to do it with the wrong hand because I've got to have my right hand on the head. So we're going to see if we can gently coax him into just keeping his position. Got to be very careful with this. You don't want the snake to panic. Don't want to hurt him. Definitely don't want to hurt me. He's very good. If he suddenly decides to rip himself loose, he can do that. So I've got to get a really good grip. You've got to have him just right. You gently hold him under the jaw and you put your top finger on top. That way you've got control of a viper. Okay, so now, plastic on top of the floss, very thin plastic. Under normal conditions, you put something in that mouth, he'll just pull the fangs back. But I bet you if he feels that, he's going to let us have it. Let's see what happens. Are you ready to go for this, boy? Feel your fangs on there. Let's see, watch the sheaths go. Oops, there we go. And look at the venom running down the side. Just a little bit, not such a lot, but then they only need a little. That's enough venom to kill something. All right? And the fangs are through. Maybe you can even see those fangs through the glass, through the plastic. Gently, I'm going to take those fangs out. Now the sheaths have been pushed back somewhat, so that exposes the teeth. Oh, he's pulling them back again. There we are. You can see the one very clear. That's a great example because you've got one fang clear, as it would be when it bites. The other fang is still protected by the sheath. It's already brought the sheath back down. So that shows you both examples. That's a very long fang for a little snake like this. That's an enormous fang. Isn't that incredible? Look at that sheath on the other side. That sheath protects the fang when it's not in use. Keeps it covered, keeps it sharp, keeps it in good condition. Now you've got to be very careful when releasing a snake like this because those fangs are that long, he can slip them down the side of his lip
and get to my thumb if I don't have my thumb in the right position. So I have to take him very gently, and I've got to let go really quick, making sure that he's in the correct position, and let him swing free. Ready, boy? Here we go. Oh, there we go. That wasn't so bad, eh? Isn't that good? Oh, he says, that's nonsense. I bit something. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, there we go. Right on my tongs again. That's the safest way to keep him, is he's just hanging in there. Look at that glass. Actually, not a bad shot, that. There's enough drops in there to probably kill a couple of people. It depends. And this guy's probably been attracted to this area because there's people living here. Because where people live, there's always rodents, plenty of rodents, and that attracts the snakes. And he tucks himself away here close by, waiting for mice to come past. And the people are close by, and they may just come into contact with him. So instead of putting him back here, what I'm going to do is actually take him far away where there's nobody, and release him so that he can be safe. Okay, my boy, you've done your thing for the day. Let's go. What a snake, isn't that fantastic? Here we go. I brought the viper to the temple where I could release it back into the forest, where it will be safe.
This is a perfect place.
The same forest that is home to possibly my toughest challenge yet, finding the elusive and enigmatic flying snake. I'm searching for the golden flying snake in the grounds of a ruined temple. Birds' alarm calling alert me to a snake moving close by. I catch a glimpse as it moves above me through the trees. It heads towards the temple, disappearing into the ruin.
I got him! Oh, I got him. Look at that. It's a cat-eyed snake, a green cat-eyed snake. For a minute, I thought it was one of the golden flying snakes, one of the tree flying snakes. Yeah. Look at him reach. You see, this is why he's so similar. These guys are also prehensile and fast-moving. They live up in trees. You can see why they call him a cat-eyed snake. You can call it a green vine snake, or you can call it a cat-eyed snake. Look at his eyes. Very long and very, very prehensile. Look at his tail. I bet you if I let him go like that, look at that. No effort at all. He just hangs by my fingers. So he can actually reach out from one tree, reach right across, and grab onto another branch. Now the flying snake is inclined to more likely run along the branch and leap to the other side. This guy would just stretch out and reach for the other side. Now his back fang, the poison is very mild, and it's usually situated, the fangs are situated roughly behind those eyes, below the eyes. They've got little back fangs there, and when they catch their lizards, their food, they hold onto it and they chew it down. They envenomate it with those teeth while they chew. But to a human being, that venom is not very toxic at all. It's a gentle snake, a beautiful snake. I'm just going to let him go over here again. Now you watch how easily he climbs. If I put him on the vine, yeah, just bring him along over here. Let him catch onto the vine. Oh, that's what I like. Watch his body move. Watch the motion through here. Even though I'm quite disappointed it wasn't a golden tree snake, a flying snake, but to find something like that is fantastic. I'm happy as anything. I've got a Dutch storm.
The thunderstorms are getting heavier by the day. The monsoon season is now well and truly here. The showers come regularly and last for a couple of hours. They chill the air and stop me in my tracks. But this is typical of the wet season, and I planned my trip specifically around these storms. The rain brings out so much wildlife, and the forests seem to come alive with overwhelming sounds and heady scents. That night, I built myself a series of traps in order to discover who I was sharing the forest with.
This is an old researcher's trick, and it's very effective, and it's very simple. I just plant a long sheet of plastic right into the ground with a couple of stakes. This means that any animals moving through the night, coming against this plastic sheet from either side, must walk along it. And I've got a couple of open buckets placed over here, and automatically these animals must drop into the bucket. It's one of the best ways, most effective ways to see what is actually passing by. And these I've only had for a short time. Ah, look at this, I've already got something. There's a little frog. I don't even know exactly what kind this is, but it's obviously a long jump. I bet you if I let go, he's going to spring out. Watch him go. Whoop! Off he goes. Fantastic. Just have a look if there's anything else. Yeah, look at this, look at this. Oh my gosh, I've got a scorpion. I've got a scorpion, and I don't know much about the scorpions you get here. I've got to just catch him by the tail, then there we go, I've got him. He's not happy at all. I thought I'd put him on my hand, but he might be so angry, he might let me have it. See a tiny little scorpion? Look, he's actually using that sting right now, stinging away at the tongs over here. I assume this is a young one and it's going to grow a lot bigger.
But there we go. I'm going to let him go. Let him run on my hand. If he runs off, just don't sting. There we go. Look at that. He says, I'm out of here. He's coming right up my arm. Isn't that cute? He's a pretty little thing. Here we go. Got him. There, I've got the light right on him. See that? He's tiny. And usually scorpions that have got thin pinchers, like small pinchers with rather thick tails, are usually the dangerous ones. So I imagine this guy can give quite a powerful sting. There, I've got him going. And off he goes.
But that's nothing compared to my next find.
Look at this little guy. You know what this is? It's a green tree viper. But it's a baby. It's a tiny one. Oh, he's so small. You see, now these guys normally live up in trees. They spend most of their time up in trees, but he's young, and so he's feeding on the ground still. Let me bring him up. Just let me see if I can get him on my hand. Let him calm down. It's a venomous little snake. It's a little pit viper.
I would say it's a Pope's viper, but it's very difficult to tell, as there are a few different species that look very similar.
Golden eyes. Oh, he's such a cutie little thing. Now these guys get to about, 2-3 foot in length, maybe maximum of 3 foot. They're not very big snakes, but the locals fear them. They fear them because they live in trees and they believe they strike from the tree and actually bite you in the head. These guys are pretty timid and they live up in trees indeed, but they feed on frogs and lizards and stuff like that. So you'd have to come and really bang your head into him or something and give him a fright before he's actually going to bite you on the head. And they hide themselves so well, you can imagine in amongst the green leaves, you would never see this guy. Look how very distinct the neck is from the head. The neck is so thin and the head is so broad, then you know straight away it's a little viper and you know he's venomous. Isn't that fantastic? That's gorgeous. I'm going to take him now and release him straight back into the forest and he can go and feed.
It's getting towards the end of my trip now. Will I ever get my picture of the mysterious flying snake, or will I be going home empty-handed? I've been living out here in the heart of Cambodia for 6 weeks now. The oppressive heat, humidity and terrain are exhausting and taking their toll. I've been searching tirelessly through steaming forests to try and pin down the elusive flying snake. My only help is birds' alarm calling, and that is exactly what has alerted me to this one. This is proving to be one of my toughest missions, and I was beginning to think that I'd be going home empty-handed. But what happened next took me completely by surprise.
I saw him. There he goes. There he goes. Oh, I've got one shot. Oh, no. I've got him. I've got him. Look, I've got him. Wow. I was hoping I'd get some photographs of these guys, but I never thought I'd actually catch one. Look at him go. Look at that. I've actually got a golden flying snake in my hands. I never thought that would happen. I mean, I've been chasing him through the trees. I got tangled in those vines, everything. I lost track of him. I lost him about a half a dozen times. And then just as I got to the end, he actually seemed to just come flying out ahead of me.
This is a backfanged species, only mildly venomous. Once they've grabbed onto their prey, they begin to chew and secrete venom.
Look at the length of this guy's body. Long, slender snake, long, thin tail. See the tail starts over there. Look at that. Very prehensile. They're powerful, fast-moving predators. This guy will chase a skink or whatever's in the tree like grease lightning. And if that animal is getting away from him, or sometimes if he spots an animal right across on another branch, he might lunge and throw himself towards it. What they actually do is they spread the body out and they suck the tummy in so that it goes completely hollow. And by doing that, he just catches a bit of air. So he can't truly fly and he can't go in a straight line. He must come down from one height to another height. And they just lunge down like that, spread themselves out, usually in a bit of a curled S shape. And he can even guide himself slightly with the movement of his tail.
Once at the launch point, the flying snake grips onto the branch with its tail, hurling itself off rather than dropping. Once the snake is traveling fast enough to glide, it sucks in its gut to form an upside-down U shape along the entire length of its body, catching the air like a parachute and gliding. The snake undulates its body and twists its tail for balance. This allows coverage of much longer horizontal distances.
Fantastic. Snakes are forever incredible animals.
Actually, let him go then. There he goes.
And in no time at all, he's gone. Back into the canopy from where he fell.
Look at that smooth, beautiful movement. Isn't that fantastic? Blends in perfectly. What a snake. Incredible experience.
I'm so pleased to have found the snake.
This has been incredible. If that guy didn't miss his branch or whatever he didn't drop right into my lap, I would never have got that close. What a magnificent snake. So all this waiting, all this working, all this crunching around in the jungle has actually at the end of the day been worth it. And now I'm really tired. And I think I've been here long enough. So I've achieved what I came for. Actually, I've achieved even more. And I've seen so many different things. It's been such a fantastic time. I feel quite happy about leaving now. It's not a problem.
That just leaves me to pack up camp, reflect on an extraordinary trip, and head back home to Africa with some fantastic images.